Good evening, everyone. 14 seconds in, here we are. As you can see, we are missing one of our foursome that should be here, but we'll start without him. Good evening to everyone watching. This is the Cheese Room, your Friday night entertainment, much better than whatever is on British TV tonight. Not that I care. Yes, so let's get around and say hello to everyone that's not called Caller. To my left is JP. JP, say hi.
Left and right. Hello, how are we? Yeah, my kids took about an hour and a half to go to bed last night. So if Cole's in any such predicament, we could be having some fun here. But I'm doing well. Melbourne's nice and sunny. I've woken up to another day of, pre-Ange fever. So let's get into it.
All right. And Cameron, the other person in sunny Melbourne, actually, are you guys close to each other? Like relatively speaking, you are clearly, but like
20 minutes
where
away.
you live, is it? Huh?
Yeah, probably about 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Without traffic, yeah.
Oh, so without traffic in Melbourne, okay. So 50 minutes it is. Various tram lines. Yeah, okay. No good. Cam, say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone. Good evening to people in Greenwich meantime. Good week in Melbourne town. Waiting, hopefully, for the official word for Spurs to hopefully play out here in May and seeing them in person. But good week, good summery weather for a change. It's been a cold winter, and all's well.
Like a cold winter? You've just had summer.
It's bloody summer, mate.
Come on, James. It's not been a hot summer.
I mean, it's going to be 35 tomorrow, but
Is it? Or for a change.
Yeah, it's funny because apparently it's been snowing in the UK. Obviously, I'm not in the UK. I'm in Austria. And tomorrow we've got a high of 17, which is pretty outrageous for February.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's
I'm wearing shorts and a singlet. But so anyway, look, welcome to tonight's show. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Brighton, all things Brighton, and the fact that we don't really have any worries with our team selection. Isn't that kind of weird, guys, that like almost everyone we care about is actually fit and should be available?
I mean, Brennan Johnson's still on the team sheet, I'm sure of it. So I mean, we can define your worries later. But everyone's there. Everyone is there
to talk about Brennan once we do the old football prizes thing at the end. I don't really want to talk about him before then when we have to. But yeah, Brennan Johnson may well be starting at some place. I'm sure Brighton will be hoping that he is. But Cam, like, what do you expect to see from Spurs' lineup tomorrow?
Look, we're going to have a bench for a change. I actually think the last time we played Brighton down at Brighton, it was one of our thinnest ever squads from memory, where we got trounced 3 or 4 goals to 1, I think. So this is quite strange, going from a very thin squad when we last played them to we've got resources abundantly. We've got a back line for a change. So I think it's going to be definitely different to the result we had a few months ago.
Well, I would hope so. Thank you for being positive. We've got more players. Yeah. We shouldn't lose by, was it 4-2 after being 4-1
or 4-2? Yeah.
Yeah, and I had that feeling at 4-2 that we're going to do something. It's going to be our Cheikh Tiote moment, and then it never came. But what about you, JP?
Yeah, I mean, it's great having everyone back. I still have a feeling that because it's been so choppy with the players that we're not going to go straight back to the swashbuckling team we were, in the first 10 matches. But it's good to have options, particularly I think in midfield where we've had players available. It's not like we've had players playing out of position, but we haven't really had players we wanted in those positions. And now we're going, well, is Bentancur or Basuma going to start? Don't know. Does Decky play? Does Sonny play? It's a great position to be in. And I think as much as we can kind of bemoan what's going on up front, there's options there, and there's legitimate conversations of like, does our most informed striker start? So it's a good spot to be there.
All right. Well, look, can I be safe in assuming that we all think the back five will be the back five, right? That Vicario will be in goal, and that Udogie and Van der Ven and Romero and Porro will be that, right? And it's been a back five that have conceded a fair few goals recently, but I think we all believe deep down that that's probably our most Ange back five, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So the question is, what do we do in midfield? Because as you said, JP, everyone's back now. We don't really have any worries. Like Bissouma's been back for most of the week. Sarr's been back over a week. We obviously came off the bench in the last game. So what do you want and what do you expect to see tomorrow? Let's start with Cam.
Bentancur, Maddison, Sarr. I think with Bissouma coming back from malaria, he had malaria for.
Let's see, that's not a country, Cam.
No.
He came back from malaria.
No. Mali malaria sounds coming back from that illness. I've had friends when I was living in the UK had malaria coming back from Africa. I don't know what the recovery is. So I think logically speaking, I don't know if Bissouma is 100%. So I would go the safe option with Bentancur.
Okay, there seem to be a few other people in the comments that are saying the same thing. Bentancur, Sarr, Maddison. What about you, JP?
Well, apparently Bissouma's fine. Apparently he had his mild case of malaria before he went to the AFCON, and he's 100% now, says Ange. I don't know. I'd sort of agree. I'd probably be inclined to start Bentancur over Bissouma. Maddison and Sarr are lock-ins at the moment. They're our two most important players in midfield.
But do you agree with the people that have said that Bentancur has not played very well in the last couple of games?
Yeah, well, this is where I'm sort of at. Is that Bentancur has been pretty rusty, so I would be tempted to just throw Bissouma straight back in there. When Bissouma wasn't playing well, it was because he was in and out of the team for his own doings with his dumb red cards, but he also didn't have Maddison around him. And so I think he's got that midfield that he started with at the start of the season. I think, and playing against Brighton as well, here's an opportunity for him to get back to his best, and he looks kind of happy and back to his kind of dancing self in the club videos they're putting out. So I want to see that midfield three of Bissouma, Sarr, and Maddison playing.
Okay, so you want that three, but you think Ange will go with...
I think it'll be Bentancur, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's interesting with that midfield three that for various parts of the season, even when we were winning at the start of the year, we basically said, hey, when Bentancur comes back, he's going to take one of those spots, right? Yeah. And likely, we all probably thought it was going to be Sarr's spot at the time. That would be Bissouma and Bentancur plus Maddison. And yet now we've all sat here and said, well, Sarr's got to start. Like Sarr 100%. Suddenly feels like the most important of the three, which, it feels weird to be saying this. Like Bissouma's not a bad player. We all know that. I mean, none of them are bad players. I think we'd all have fits tomorrow if Højbjerg starts as a six, but still, we're in a situation where we do have good options for almost every position, apart from the one that Sarr plays. Yeah, he is the best one for that role of being able to, play right back when Porro goes forward, and we've not seen much from Porro in the last few games. So I don't think.
I was just going to say that since Sarr's been away, Porro's probably been at his poorest, and it's not that we don't have good options to play there. Like Lo Celso can play there, Bentancur could absolutely play there, but they don't give you what Sarr gives you, which is the ability to cover the whole flipping pitch. He just does it all when he's on.
It's interesting. I went on another show maybe 2 weeks ago.
Hey,
here we go. We'll talk to you in a second. So I went on a different show a few weeks ago, and I was on with a guy from Tottenham on tour who I didn't really know anything about. But I said that I thought that Sarr was really important for what Spurs want to do. And his attitude was like, well, if you've seen that, you know football. So I'm glad that we all know football and that most of the people watching all know football. Because it's crazy to think he's 21, Sarr, and yet he is the most important version of what we've got. And none of us think he's the best midfielder we have, but for the team to function well, that's going to be his role. Right, let's put Calder in his rightful place. All right, Swiss Caller, Swiss Tony.
I'm still recovering from. Is it Monday night? Tuesday night? Monday night with Sandro. And for some reason, I've still got Aurelio Gomez. You are the love of my life.
And what happened on Monday, Caller? I'm sure everyone is desperate to know what you got up to. So let us know.
So we had a bit of a social with the Fighting Cock boys in London. And Sandro, Brendan's man, was there. Ended up in Burger King. at 11:30 at night. Absolutely battered. There you go. Look, 5 guys.
Oh, 5 guys in Clapham.
Yeah, 5 guys in
I've
Clapham,
been
mate.
there. Yeah.
The only 5 people in there. Well, I'm not surprised.
No, there was well, it was late. I mean, they were about to shut, but we were like, got some more pictures? Of course you do. There we go. Children Boys and Sandro. So it was good. It was good. It was a.
But Kulu, you organised that night. Was it a cheese room thing? Like, how did it all come about?
So Fight Cop wanted to do a social. Bren brought Sandro to the party, and therefore it became kind of like a shared social. So it was really good. I have to say, I was battered for 2 days afterwards because
Big night.
I drank far too much. Ended up having to do some really important work stuff the following day, and was just a mess the whole day. But managed to get through. Anyway,
so now you're ready to talk about Brighton, right?
I'm
The game tomorrow.
buzzing. Yeah,
Are you going?
No, I've got to work, unfortunately. Used all my holiday allowance till April, so it's a bit of a disaster. So my season ticket is on the exchange. Please buy it. That would be great. Or I'll give it away. If you want a ticket for tomorrow, just DM me. You can have it for nothing. I'd rather the seat was filled. So, yeah, you've got me on Twitter.
All right. Yeah, get yourselves on Twitter.
DM me. You can have a free ticket. North Stand. It's beautiful. Get yourself some neck oil. Get yourself some pies. And watch us stuff the seagulls. It'll be great. Where are we up to, HG?
We discussed that the defence and keeper is what we all know it's going to be, and that we kind of talked about the midfield 3, about what we expected Ange to do. I think we all expect Bentancur to start.
I think it's just weird. I think the whole thing's weird. We've got a fit first choice 11 plus rotation options, haven't we? It's weird. We haven't had this since when? Chelsea? Probably.
Yeah. I mean, even then we already were starting to get a few injuries beforehand, but it wasn't significant.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. It's great. I think that I can't wait. The static from my mic is there. Oh dear.
It sounds a little bit like your mic went out with you.
Hang on,
with
try
Sandro.
that. Try that. Is that better?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll come back in a second and reload. How's that?
All right. Sounds
good.
We'll see you in a bit. We'll talk about the strikers. All right. So you guys can talk about whether you think Brennan Johnson should start. I'll keep myself out of this one. Cam, what do you reckon?
No, he's been playing too much, and I think he needs a spell. I think he needs to recharge, re-listen. Yes, we've obviously seen the obvious impediments there, but I think it should be Kulusevski going on to the right, Son on the left. But I honestly think Johnson needs a spell on the sidelines because he's come in and he's almost played every game. So now that we've got resources on our bench, use them.
How's that?
Hey, there he is. There he is.
There he is.
There we go.
Right, and
Did you just give it a Barocca or something?
No, I selected the right input.
Right.
Yeah, I had a Barocca. Look, I heard the conversation about Sarr. I think he just gives you so much energy in the midfield, doesn't he? That's the difference. I think fundamentally, he's the box-to-box man. He's the guy who gets about. We really struggle when he's not in the team. And I don't have the stats, but I'm pretty sure that's borne out in the stats as well. So,
all right. Okay, cooler. So do you feel the same way about Brennan Johnson?
I think Brennan Johnson is a young player who we need to give time to, HG. That's my view. But from what I've seen,
time on the bench, time in the under-21s. What do you mean?
From what I've seen so far, in the words of Shania Twain, he doesn't impress me that much. I have to say. I hope it was Shania Twain who sang that. I think it was. Yeah. Matt Hayes has got a request, HG. Lucas Bergval.
Yeah, that seems pretty good. Bergval.
Which is
definitely
for me.
It's definitely not Vol. Lucas Bergval. I think it means like mountain, like rock face almost, which is pretty cool considering his chin. I mean, it's But
chiseled.
Lucas Bergvall. But we don't need to worry about that until July when pre-season comes around. Maybe he'll come to Melbourne, Cam.
Maybe.
I know it's at the end of the season, but that would be interesting. If he
Well,
went out
that's
there
in
with
May.
the team.
But I definitely.
But we own him, so if we want to take him in May, give him the summer off.
We own him.
And,
we own you.
We own him.
But I would say Bergvall, but
Bergvall, I would say, but we'll see. We'll see who's
Blondie.
correct. Once the commentators get hold of it, I'm sure we'll hear all kinds of different connotations of it. HG, what I want to know from you is who would you play in the forward line? I know you're not really a Brennan Johnson fan. It's fair to say. Is it fair to say you'd put the returning Son on the left, Kulu on the right?
That's very fair to say. That's exactly what I'd do. Like, I've seen a lot of people talk about how Son is going to be knackered after playing all those games and all that extra time. I don't care. You can sleep on Sunday. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's got a week off before the next game. We need him. He's our captain. He's our best striker. I think we are more likely to score goals with him in the first 11 than we will be with Werner. So, therefore, I would play Son with Kulu and Richie, yeah.
Well, even I know this one. It's Werner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Werner. Timo Werner.
Timo Werner, yeah. Das is good. JP, Cam, I'll go to JP first. Do you agree with dropping Johnson to the bench?
I agree with dropping Johnson to the bench. The one I'm umming and ahhing on is whether you drop Werner. Because I thought he's done all right. Because I think in a weird world, I think the front three we want to play is Werner, Son, and Decky. But Richie's in too good a form to drop him at the moment, so it's going to be Son, Richie, and Decky.
Okay. Your man's not that ruthless then, is he?
Probably not. Well,
you
can't drop a striker who's got 9 in 8. Like, that's not...
That's a ruthless man.
Yeah.
Like, he had a sandwich with white bread. Drop him. Despite all the goals, drop him. He's vegan. Drop him.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, call that. If anyone's vegan in the chat, shame on you. But I respect your life choices. Cam, would you... HG's wife's vegan, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. It's just Josh.
To be fair, there's a number of her life choices that probably need questioning. So,
Cam,
anyway, let's move on away from my family.
Cam, would you do anything different? Do you agree? Kulu, Sonny on the left, and Richarlison through the middle will start.
Yeah, definitely. I think. Look, I don't know if it changes Richarlison's balance as regards to if he scores any goals, because Son might be cutting in a bit more. It's a matter of with Sonny coming back, will that affect Richie's form? I don't know, but that would be the preferred starting lineup I would have for tonight, tomorrow, whatever time it is. Definitely, I'd be pro Son.
Decky hasn't been that great the last few games. Is anyone contemplating Werner on the right?
No, not in a million years, JP. Why would you contemplate that?
Well, because we all agree that we don't want Brennan starting. And if Decky's not in good form, who's the other option?
I half expect, we might not want it, I half expect Johnson to start. I'll tell you for why. Because for whatever reason, Ange Postecoglou, mate, loves him. He absolutely loves Johnson. And
does he?
I think he does, yeah, because he wouldn't have sanctioned a 50 million buy for him if he didn't.
Pretty sure he wanted him at Celtic.
Yeah,
that's all true, but he's only really played him because others have been out.
I would say,
it's difficult. That's difficult to say because when we signed him, so many people were out. He had no choice, but
that's my point. I mean,
no,
I know the reason why.
But you don't know his preference, I suppose, is my point.
I've said this for weeks now, right? But a lot of the things we get frustrated with about our attack, Johnson is very heavily involved in. But a lot of what we've done right, and what's been good about us going forward has been when Johnson's been involved. He's been
Yeah.
really involved in a lot of the like Ange style play that we look at.
I think the thing
It's too infrequent. That's the problem.
I think he likes Johnson because Johnson he's fast. I think that's why he likes him. He's fast. But
if only he used it.
Yeah, he doesn't beat a man. That's the issue. We only seem to sign players that cut inside.
Mm.
We only seem to have players in the squad that cut inside. Like no one tries to beat a man, go on the outside and cross the ball. But when Johnson's been at his best, it's been when he is on the outside and he can put a wicked ball over. We've seen it several times. He's got a couple of assists. I can't remember the game, but he put a wicked ball over. I think it was it against City? He put a really great ball over and
He got
Werner just fluffed his light. Werner just looked like he was scared of getting injured, to be honest. Am I right?
You mean the one at Everton? Yeah. I mean, Werner should have scored that.
I'm sure it's City. I'm sure it's City as well. But
I mean, Werner didn't. Oh, you mean the FA Cup game? I don't remember. I don't really remember that one too well. I know Johnson has had a number of assists, right? And yeah, it's great.
And I know assists mean nothing to you.
Little, yeah, they don't mean much to me. I mean, because it depends on the kind of assist, doesn't it? I mean, like, does Maddison really deserve an assist for Richarlison's second goal last week? Or was he just trying to move the ball, shift it for himself? Like, did he really know that Richarlison was there? Like, I question that. It looks good, but I do question it. And, like, when someone is clean through and can pass it 10 yards to his left under no pressure, okay. I mean, that doesn't mean a great deal to me. So like, weirdly enough, like, Johnson's first assist, I think, was at Palace. And I thought that was a decent assist. I thought he did pretty well to get that goal. It was for Son's winner. So, like, clearly there is something that he can do. But you're right. It's frustrating that he doesn't go around the outside, that we don't play the ball like almost behind the fullback and say, get your ass into gear and go after it. Like, just doing that once or twice will force the fullback back. And we just don't seem to do it. And, like, on Monday's show, I know Jack came up with a stat that we only targeted him like 4 times. We only tried to pass the ball to him 4 times, or we got the ball to him 4 times in 60 minutes, which can tell you lots of things if it was to continue, whether we just don't want to give him the ball, whether the rest of the team don't really trust him. Who knows? But I just think that Kulusevski has started most of the season at right wing. He got rested maybe because he played the full 90, I think, against Brentford. Didn't start the game at Everton, but came on after an hour. I just think that Kulusevski right now is still probably Ange's first choice for that role.
And I think that's right, because he's he is a proper established first team player, and I think Brennan Johnson is still finding his way a little bit to get to make that position his. The only thing I'd say is that it's a great option to have from the bench. I think Johnson just offers you something completely different to Kulu, doesn't he? So for teams to adapt to that, when one is sub for the other, whichever way round it is, it gives you an absolutely fantastic rotation option.
It's the ultimate kind of change for the fullback to have to deal with, right? Of like, I have to be up against Kulusevski, like trying to get into a physical battle with him, watching for him to turn me. Now all of a sudden I'm having to like turn and sprint backwards when I've got Johnson coming on. It's like, if you're a fullback, that's the combination of that's the switch you don't want to happen, particularly late in the game where you've been in a physical battle.
Yeah. Has Kulu had a good season, Cam?
Mixed. I would say there's definitely room for improvement. Definitely. There's been games where he's been too quiet. I think Kulu's not the only one. I think Porro's gone quiet as well. But I think there's definite room for improvement. And I'll be interested to see now with a full squad back, playing to our structure. I think he can improve. I think, let's be honest, Kulu, amongst others, our squad has been decimated over the last few months, and maybe that's affected his form. But with the suspects back now, hopefully he could actually come in and put in a shift, because he hopefully gets more service.
I actually thought Kulu's been better since a lot of the players have gone out. Like the first probably 5 games, he was a bit, isn't he? The last 3, he's just looked knackered, I think. But I thought he's been really good for us during this period where we've been missing players.
I think that Daniel Harrison makes the best question, right? Like, really, hopefully, we want to have a strong squad where we trust everyone, and if we do, then that's the question we should be asking, right? Like, who do we think is going to work best against Brighton? What do we reckon, guys?
Brighton play a back three, don't they?
Dunk.
I don't think so. They've been more of a back. I mean, I say they've been more of a back four. I think they did play a back three in their last game. Let's have a look. There it is. Yeah, because they did play with wing backs that game, didn't they? Tariq on the left-hand side is a bit weird, but I guess I'm expecting a back four. I don't know why I am, but I would expect a back four for Brighton, that they'll want to have a bit more control. But yeah, I guess go on.
If you were playing against a team playing a back three, I'd want to play Brennan because I think you'll get more space out wide to run into. But if you're playing a back four, your fullback is expected to mark you, then I want Kulusevski. Because until Brennan starts taking his man on, he'll just get marked out of games. So in a back three, Brennan. Back four, Decky.
When they trounced us, was it a back? I'm trying to remember if it was a back four or back three.
I want to say it was a back four that night. Like, I feel like they've played mostly a back four. They may have played three centre backs because I think this Igor that was on that graphic has often played left back, but is actually more of a centre back. Kind of like what City do, yeah. Like, but like, so to see Tariq Lamptey down there, like they played Estupinian, obviously who scored against us and came on and scored.
Yeah, good player.
A very good play, but I'd be, I don't know, like 3-4-2-1. Yeah, the weird thing with Brighton is that they don't really seem to, apart from Estupinian, their fullback options don't seem great. Like Hinshelwood has played a lot recently. Just reminds me of a younger Gary Neville. Like, no nonsense. We'll give you 7 out of 10. You know, kind of almost like Ben Davies. Just is a really good young player and is showing that he will have a decent future in the game. But
Sandro loves him.
Really?
Yeah, Sandro loves him. Was raving about him last time.
Loves who?
Hinshelwood.
I don't remember that. I've got to be honest, but there you go. It's not here to ask.
I'm pretty sure I've got the right person here. Yeah, I'm sure of it. Yeah.
Mitoma would normally be in that side. Oh, yeah, someone's just put that. No, Mitoma. Mitoma's fit, I believe, so would normally be in that team.
I was reading he's out, though. I thought he's injured. I was reading March, Milner, Mitoma, a few others are out.
I've got a question for you all, and I'm going to go through one by one because I saw something scandalous today on Twitter. I mean, to be honest with you, the people I follow, it's no wonder I see some scandalous stuff. But here's a question. Who gets in the... Good news is my dinner's just arrived. I'm going to go off camera while I scoff a Chinese. My question is, who out of those players, plus Mitoma if you like, gets in Spurs starting 11? Because I saw a thing and it was, I think only 3 of our players got in this Brighton team by a very independent source. HG, to you.
I mean, we're talking about first 11, right?
Yeah.
I think probably on, like, when he plays at his best, Evan Ferguson is probably better than Richarlison, if I'm honest. But,
really?
Yeah, but Richarlison right now is playing better. So the answer there, do you know what I mean? Like, I think Ferguson has a higher ceiling, but Richarlison's playing so well and scoring lots of goals that I don't look at that side and say, I wish they played in Spurs' first 11. There are some very good players there. Like Lewis Dunk has obviously been their captain for a number of years, Brighton legend. Like, you can't go wrong with a defender like that. I think that Verbruggen is a good keeper, although he's young. And Pascal Gross has proven it. I watched him in the German second division win the league with Ingolstadt. And he was their best player. He was their number 10 then. And he seems comfortable pretty much anywhere on the pitch. But there's a lot of good young players. But I don't think I'd want any of them really to play for Spurs tomorrow.
Mitoma's the one. Like,
yeah,
Mitoma improves our 11 significantly, but
where would he go then?
Son's position, and Son moves inside. But if
so
you do that,
gets dropped.
Richarlison gets dropped. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's harsh.
But,
you brute.
Well, you were just saying that, Richarlison gets dropped for Evan Ferguson, and I don't think Evan Ferguson takes
No, I
Son
wasn't.
out of the centre.
No, hang on. I wasn't.
So
HG was. I know we look alike, apparently, but that's not the case. I did not say those words.
I'm not, I would love to have Evan Ferguson, but I don't think he starts for us. Pascal Gross is the one that you look at and go, maybe, but if I think about our team, he doesn't start over Basuma or Bentancur. He doesn't start over Sarr. We've just spoken about how important he is, and he's not really a Maddison replacement either, so I don't think he starts. And there's no one else I look at and go, they're better than anyone we've got in our 11.
Yeah, and it's not that they're bad players. I
think
we'd take a number of them for squad options, absolutely.
100%.
On the bench,
considering that we've got, 2 injuries. I mean, Solomon and Sessegnon, I think, are the only 2 that aren't available. I just, there are some very good players. I liked Joe Pedro at Watford. He scored a lot of penalties for Brighton this season, but he's getting his name on the score sheet. And
he was a pain in the arse, wasn't he, when we played them in the return fixture?
Yeah. So there are some very, very good players there who would strengthen our squad, but our first 11, the way we play, I don't know. I don't think any of them really.
I mean, that's interesting, Cameron.
When we had our injury issues down back, I would have just had Dunk there just to have a body in the defence there when our centre-backs were there. But I agree with the other guys. So I think the rest would fill up the squad on the bench, definitely.
It's interesting. I think it's an interesting conversation to have if you talk about, how many of these players would you have over Lo Celso, Skip, or Højbjerg? So, important parts of your team, but I'd take Gross over Lo Celso, Skip, or Højbjerg. I'd be interested in Billy Gilmore. I'm open to a conversation about that. Tarek Lamptey would be an okay backup for Udogie. You could go through there and go, a lot of these players would get our 13th, 14th, 15th spot on the team, but there's maybe one player in their squad who comes into our 11.
That's Mitoma?
That's Mitoma, yeah.
Because you'd play Son as the striker and drop Richarlison, who's got 9 goals in 8 games.
Ruthless.
To be completely honest, I would, even if it was a straight swap, I think Mitoma is better suited as a left winger in Ange's system than Son is.
It's interesting. Let us know what you think.
I mean, it's quite controversial, but there's some logic to it. Yeah,
I don't think it is.
I'll be back
at all.
One
Mitoma will take a man on. He can get in. He can put in a good cross. I'm not saying Son can't do any of those things, but that's what Mitoma does. Son has always been more of a start out wide, drift in centrally, and score goals and run in behind. That's not Mitoma's game, and it's not necessarily what we want from both of our wingers. You can have one of those wingers doing that in Ange's system, but if both of them are doing it, as we're seeing, the system doesn't really work. So I think Mitoma fixes the balance of our squad.
Okay. I'm going to put it out there. My Chinese has arrived, so you guys need to talk amongst yourselves. There's 126 people watching. Please do smash the like button. I'm going to say that Pedro, I would absolutely take as a option for a forward, but he wouldn't make the first team. Ferguson would be an option for the squad, but he's definitely not better than Richarlison HG, who's on an absolute mother of all runs.
Yeah, no, right now, no. But
I think Richarlison's a better player. He's more experienced, etc. But Ferguson potentially has got more potential. I agree. Lamberty's too injury prone. He's made of glass. We don't need any more of them. We've got Giovanni Lo Celso. And actually, I'm going to put it out there. Mitoma is the only person that will get in the team potentially.
You're going to put it out there after I just had a passionate rant about it. And
Can I have all the passionate rants you like while I chow down on my chow mein?
There's your bold call. I'm going to step out on a ledge here after JP's already sacrificed himself.
I mean, the good news is James Milner's out, so that midfield threat has been neutralised. I think the one player that we haven't talked about is the prolific goal machine Danny Welbeck, who might be coming back this weekend.
It's interesting. Did he score against us at Brighton? I don't think he did. He had lots of good chances. Yeah, maybe. like I know Estupinian got that rocket, and I know that there was a silly penalty that Kulusevski gave away. Don't remember the other two. It's not that long ago. I probably should remember, but it was just a bad night all round. Don't really want to. But yeah, Wilbeck is one of those players that you all think, works really hard for the team, doesn't score, and then he scores against you, right? Like that is Danny Welbeck to a T. But it's nice to know that whatever 11 Ange picks, right, that we will have 9 good to very good options off the bench, right? Like I know that Lo Celso's just come back to training. I would want him on the bench. Maybe he won't be there, but I would want him to be at least on the bench. But Højbjerg or Skip, I don't think we need both. But yes, we've got Dragusin, we've got the fullback options, we've got if Johnson doesn't start, then obviously Johnson off the bench. Werner, same deal. Like we've got some good to very good Premier League players that can actually come on and hopefully change things in a way that will help Spurs, no matter whether we're winning or losing. That it shouldn't be the same 11 for 90 minutes, which obviously we want that.
It
right?
won't be.
No, it won't be. But we look at Newcastle this season. They went through a period of having to play basically the same 11 for 90 minutes.
Yeah,
they couldn't make any changes, and Spurs, we're going to, we'll have fresh legs of a similar quality to bring on. Like if it is Bissouma or Bentancur, and Bentancur is coming back from fitness but does actually start, then you can bring Bissouma on after an hour, and you won't get much less quality. Maybe you'll even get a better job from Bissouma, depending on how Bentancur is done. And it's knowing that we've basically got 1 game a week for the rest of the year now. I think we've only got 2 midweek games, one of which was planned and one of which isn't planned. That'll be the Chelsea one when it comes back. But whenever they decide to do that, so it's we hopefully like let's say the run-in starts now for Spurs. If everyone is getting back and everyone can stay fit and there are no weird training ground injuries, like we did have a few at the start of the season, like Solomon and Perisic both got injured on the training pitch. But hopefully we can start building momentum and because the next few games, are those ones that you would expect to win. We've got 3 home games. I know Brighton won't be easy. I know Wolves won't be easy. And even Luton, when they come at the end of, was it the end of February? I think we play them. I can't remember when we play Luton, but I think Palace is the next one, excuse me. Palace might be, you'd think, easy, but as someone said on Monday, Palace might have a new manager by then. And you'd have to deal with whatever that happens. But yeah, we see the question from Gov. Was he excited to play Bissouma? Did he say that, boys? Do you know? I think he might have done at some point. I don't remember it, but
would have been overnight. So
yeah, probably not overnight. That's true.
It's interesting. We haven't really discussed the possibility of those two playing together because we all agreed that Sarr's so important. But there is a chance that happens and Sarr comes on in the 70th. But yeah, I don't think it's likely.
It's interesting that I think that he was asked, Ange, in the press conference today, who was his starting 6? Would it be Bissouma or Bentancur? Kind of like this idea, and he was very much. I don't really think in those terms. I think about players who can do a bit of everything. That if we've got so much fluidity, and you've got fullbacks moving into midfield, and saying to someone, your job is to get the ball from the centre halves and start things, Although I understand what he's saying, if you look at how Spurs have played, especially when they've played well this season, we have had one person who gets that job. Sarr is not the one really to take it from midfield. Maddison, they might do it sometimes, but generally speaking, the middle of those 3 is the one who starts the moves. And so, we all know that Bissouma and Bentancur can do a number of roles, probably. But I don't think it's that crazy of a question to say, well, if everyone's fit, do you pick one or do you pick 2? And I feel like that's what they were getting at more than anything. Maybe the writers assume that they are both better players than Sarr, and so if Sarr's going to start, then which one misses out and why? But it was interesting for Ange to kind of avoid it and be like, well, they're good footballers. I want good footballers more than someone is a guaranteed 6 or someone is a better at an 8. But these are the questions that we'll be facing because. Even with Kulusevski, we've talked about where is his best position. He's played wide right a lot for Spurs, a lot in his career. But if you ask him, he sees himself, he wants to be more of a number 10, play more centrally and get more involved. So those questions will, I guess, have to be answered at some point, but I don't know if it's I don't know if it's something that's massively important either. Does that make sense? Like, I understand why people want to know, but maybe Andrew's right in saying, well, I want good footballers who, wherever they are on the pitch, will keep the ball and will be useful. But yeah, keep the questions coming, guys. Those of you that are watching, we've got 128 watching right now. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button if you haven't. But I mean, what do we think from Brighton? I mean, if we look at their recent results, looks a bit of everything, doesn't it, JP?
Yeah, a bit patchy. It looks a lot like Spurs last year, to be honest, when we were going through or the season before that. You go through a good run, you get maybe a win or two, that'd be followed with a draw, and you go, you know what? Actually, we're undefeated in 5. We're doing well. And then you'll have a loss and be like, actually, no, if you look back on that, we've dropped, I don't know what have they dropped here in that run? 2, 4, 6. They've dropped 9 points in their last 6, you know? So there's an air of kind of unpredictability about them. They've had some good wins. They obviously beat us, but they're definitely gettable.
I mean, you look at those league games that have happened recently, right? Because obviously there's FA Cup games in there as well, and I think even some Europa League.
There's Europa as well. Yeah.
But I mean, their last few league games, Crystal Palace at home. Well, you know, we all know how poor Palace are right now. But losing by 4 to Luton are a completely different proposition to us. So I don't think we can look at that. Like, if we were to go and play like Luton, then maybe we could beat them. But that's just not our game. Winning at Sheffield United, again, was that the Cup? I think it was. That was the FA Cup. So, yeah, their league form is a bit average. But, you know, the last loss in the league was the Luton one. So, yeah, I don't know. They've not travelled well, I guess you could say, in the league.
Yeah.
Just that 1 point at West Ham. So hopefully there's something in it for us. But, I mean, my mum asked me the question today, like, do you think we'll win? And I was like, well, yeah, but I'm not expecting a thrashing. Like, I think it will be nervy. I think that, as we have done all season, Brighton will get their chances. So whether we can have a 10-minute spell like we did against Brentford, or whether we can have, hopefully, more attacking play and more domination, then great. But I don't know. Like, Brighton aren't great, but I'm not sure we've played that well either. So hopefully, with the new players coming back, we can actually put in a proper performance. But what do you think, JP?
Yeah, I'd agree. I still think that we're not going to, you know, just get all our players back and go straight back into being real smooth operators. It's going to take some time to get some chemistry back, because those players, as much as, you know, Son's only been missing for 3 games or whatever it is, Basuma's been missing a long time, Sarr's been missing a long time. We haven't had this group of players together for a long time. You got to go back to Chelsea when we had, you know, this group together. So it's going to take a while for us to get together, but I expect us to win this game. But I agree with you, HG. It's not going to be 4-0. I'm expecting like a 2-0, 2-1 type scenario.
Here's another question. Thank you from Dan, the mod drummer. If we go up, can we hold on to it? I'm not even considering 2 or 3. Let's just go 1 goal. If we go a goal up, can we hold on to the league, and should we be worried about corners? Cam, what do you think?
I'm a little bit worried about set pieces with Big Lewis Dunk down there. I watched a bit of the replay of the Crystal Palace Brighton match a couple of nights ago, and I was like, the physicality of Dunk amongst others in that Brighton lineup, I was like, set pieces, how are we going to handle that? Obviously, we've been shown up in the last couple of games around set pieces with people opponents interrupting Vicario. But like others, it's shown that we can win, but we can't necessarily keep a clean sheet, particularly later on in games. I think there's a stat showing that in injury time, we're the team that concedes the most goals in injury time. So although we're up, sometimes there can be heart palpitations with us as well, because Ange's game management, I think, coming into the end of games, it can improve a fair bit.
I think it's an interesting point, because, like, everyone's comment when they say game management is, oh, you just sit back and be a little bit more defensive. But if you watch any Ange team when they're like in their full flight and in his pomp, they hold out games really well by holding the ball. They don't change the way they play. They don't sit back and be more defensive. They just don't let the other team get the ball. And that is his way of game management. And we're not there yet. So I think it's very tempting to kind of look at this and go, yeah, well, because we're not that team yet, we should do different things. But I think in Ange's mind, he's going, we're not that team yet. And if we don't try and be that team, we'll never be that team. This year isn't the year we're going to win the league. So let's just make sure that everything we do, and this is the Chelsea game, right? It wasn't that we could have got a better result in that game if we had have sat back. It was, we will get a better result down the line if we continue to play the way I want to, regardless of whether we're capable of doing it now or not, because that's the way we're going to get to be that team.
Yeah, and you're right. And it's tough. As football fans, if we're winning games in the 90th minute, we want to win those games. Like to say, well, we'll learn from it, and this time next year we'll be winning games much easier. Yeah, I guess there's enough in Ange's career to make you think that is what's going to happen, but there's still a nervousness, and I would understand why there's a nerves, because the Premier League is a much more difficult league than the ones that Ange's managed in, and the players are better, and teams can hurt you more. Like, obviously, in Japan and in Scotland especially, maybe Ange had some advantages, and in Australia he clearly didn't when he was at Brisbane. But it's one of those things that everyone's nervous. Like, if you're winning a game, you want to win that game, right? Last 5 minutes, last 10 minutes, you want to see it out. And like Dragusin has come on a number of times in recent games, and in one case he came on for a centre back, but in the others I don't think he has done. So there is a little bit of change, you would think, there, but yeah, it'll be interesting if we do go up, as Dan says. Can we hold on to it? Right. Next question, or the next statement rather, is this one, which I thought was pretty good. Let's see if I can get it up. There we go. Davies and Royal were centre back when we played at their place. I think that is true.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the situation. That's where it's kind of a reverse now. Brighton's got a few out, and now we've got a full squad now. Not that Brighton had a full squad when they played us. So yeah, I think that was the CB centre backs.
So yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, I think that was the one where Romero was injured, like not suspended, but he picked up a small injury somewhere along the way. So yeah, like, I think there was a number of goals we conceded when we had four fullbacks, and everyone talks about how great it was that we scored 3 at Man City and got a point. But at the end of the day, we did concede 3, and conceding 4 at Brighton is not a good sign. But yeah, it is a completely different game tomorrow. That's the good thing, right? There's only 5 or 6 weeks between the two games, but it'll be a different Spurs side and a different Brighton one, and it's a whole new day. So yeah, it's interesting to just kind of figure out what's going to happen. Like, are Spurs going to go on a run? Like this question here from David: if we win 10 more games, it should guarantee 4th. I would think so.
My question is, can we win the league?
Well, we can, because it's still mathematically possible.
Okay, so I've been quaffing my Chinese at record pace, which, by the way, was beautiful. Thanks for Beck bringing that in. I've still got some chicken satay skewers, which I'm going to pick away at during the show. But I can't remember which one of you it was. I think it was you who said the next 3 games, are winnable. We could pick up a few, and I think our challengers have got slightly more challenging fixtures for top 4. JP, I'm going to come to you first because you are a Aussie and therefore full of boundless optimism and some would say naivety, stupidity. But I want to come to you and say, you like that, Cam? Can we win the league? Will we win the league?
I don't think we'll win the league, but it's not. HG's right. We're 7 points behind Liverpool. Like, that's a very surmountable. Arsenal were in a much better position than that against second place last year and still managed to lose the league. So, yeah, we can win the league. Will we? Probably not, but we could. I looked at the fixture list when we started losing all our players and thinking, how do we get through this period and what's possible beyond that? And it was this period of the season that I looked at and said, okay, if we get to Everton and we're still, thereabouts, I think in my mind, I said if we're kind of 4 or 5 points off top 4, then we're, top 4 is a real possibility because we just have to get to, we've got like 6 or 7 games coming up where you go very winnable. They should help us cement top 4. But then you look at the next load of games after that, and we've got like Liverpool, Arsenal, and City, like all in a row.
Yeah, but I suppose my point is,
but
you are correct. But if we get momentum going into those games,
this is it. If we win 7 on the trot here, right, and we go into those games and we win all of those games, then you can have a conversation about the league because I think by that point we'll be within a game of it.
I think the thing is we've got 15 league games left. And of those 15, for us to even have a sniff of the title, I think we have to win 13.
Yeah.
Right? And stupidly, those 2 drop points at Everton, I might have said 12 had we won that game. Yeah. Right? I mean, logically, those 2 points actually mean a lot, right? And so for us to claw back all those points on the 4 teams ahead of us, like we have to beat Villa and we have to beat Liverpool and we have to beat City. And, 2 of those 3 are away. We have to beat Arsenal at home. Like there's 4 tough games and we probably have to win all 4 because we need to catch points on all 4 of them. Like if we were chasing one team, it's a bit different, right? But when you've got, 4 teams ahead of you, I think I saw some computer boffin or whatever it said that we have a 0.1% chance. Seems about right.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yes, Lloyd Christmas says there is a chance. But yeah, it's unlikely. I think, as we've all said, even Andrew said, like this season is all about preparing for next season when he wants to be judged. We are in a fantastic position to get Champions League football, whether it's top 4 or if we're, lucky loser 5th, if that comes around. But none of us thought we'd be where we are. None of us thought we'd be within 10 points of the lead at this stage, really. And to sit here and know that that's true, despite all the injuries, despite losing our best player, do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that have said Spurs should be mid-table, right? Like, I think we see where Brighton are right now, right? They're 9 points plus a bunch of goals behind us. 35 points probably should be where Spurs are. Really, if we were to think about a normal season with these players, that seems about right. So for us to be 9-10 points ahead of where we probably should be is pretty good. The fact that it's frustrating that we know without those injuries we'd be higher up, without those late equalizers we'd be higher up. But we'd all take 5th. I think we'd all have taken 5th at this point had we been offered it at the start of the
season. We'd all taken 5th at the end of the season, at the start of the season. I think I said like 7th or 8th. But at this point, I'm targeting 3rd. I think that as a kind of aspirational point of where do you think we could realistically end, 3rd is that spot where I'm going. That should be what we're aiming for. Is try and get clearly into the top 4 and knock a couple of teams off.
If we get 3rd, I'm doing a little jig down the high road. That would be an achievement. I think we can get 2nd, actually. But Cam, what's your view?
Sorry, Cam, go ahead. No, Cam, go.
I think with everything that's occurred this season, to make it to the top 4, I think is, I wouldn't say it's a massive achievement, but that's a massive, how would I say, what's the word for Ange? It's considering all the negatives he's had to put up with and coming in only a few weeks out from the season, making top 4 is a very good result in a squad that he's rebuilding on the run. So for me, I am 2nd, 3rd or 4th, great. But making it to the Champions League, considering what the challenges he's had, I think is incredible. And look, when Kane got sold this season, everyone was in the doldrums. And look what's occurred. Ange has essentially taken our minds off Kane and concentrated on us. And look what we've done. no one foresaw the results that have come about. We're 5th position, and look, after 2 or 3 months, we've finally got a full squad back, and we're 5th. We've won games where we've had second string players on the field. I mean, you've got to give Ange the credit for what he's had to put up with.
Brian Hill started against someone. It was like City. Yeah, Brian Hill started against City. Like, that's the state we've been in.
Yeah. I mean, Kane makes a really good point with Kane, is that like we haven't spent any time this season really saying like missing him. Like, there's been the odd occasion where we're like, I wish we still had him because of where we are, but it's not like woe is us, we've lost Kane.
Yeah.
There's like, is it 67 goals we got last season, and he scored 30 of them, right? So we all sat here at the start of the season saying, how are we going to replace those 30 goals? And we haven't signed a striker really, because Veliz, as a young kid, doesn't really count. And we talked about Brennan Johnson's not really a striker and has not really been expected to play that much. But we've got, it was really loud bite caller, thanks. But we've got goals from everywhere. Like, I mean, Romero's got 2 or 3 this season. Udogi's chipped in with a few that we probably weren't expecting, and Richarlison scored 9 and 8, which none of us were expecting. So it is. You were you?
Come on.
I've been backing Richie the whole season. I have.
Right.
Just like I said, we'd finish top 4. Go back, find the footage. I love being right.
All right, so caller, how many is Richarlison going to score in the next 9 or the next 8?
I think he'll get to 18 goals this season. There you go.
Ooh.
Okay. So is he going to score all of them in the next 8 games? Yeah, I mean, if he stays fit, 15 goals. What is he on now? Is it 10?
10, 11?
I think it's 10 or 11.
10 or 11. So, yeah, 15 should be doable for sure. If you can get closer to 20, great. Is he on for Golden Boot? I mean, I guess if he continues this run of form, he'll catch Haaland, which seems crazy. And like we talked about those 4 teams ahead of us, they all have Europe, and you'd expect all of them to actually go quite far in Europe, right? Like, I mean, obviously none of us want Arsenal to do well, but we all think City will go a long way. Liverpool in the Europa League really should.
Just on that, is 5th completely out of the running for Champions League? Give us our update.
No, I think England right now are currently in 3rd, but we're very, very close to 2nd. I think it's Italy, Germany, and England are the 3 that have a real shot of getting those positions. And yeah, like as I said, like Villa, you would expect to do really well in the Conference League, right? Because they're clearly one of the stronger teams in it. Even if they played their squad players, it would have to go pretty majorly wrong for them to get knocked out. But Liverpool, you'd think, will take the Europa League pretty seriously. We all obviously hope that Arsenal get knocked out as soon as possible. But City, Arsenal, they should all be playing. I could see all of them playing European football in April, which would mean getting to the quarters at least, I think. So
I want Arsenal to go all the way to the semi and get beaten badly, but keep them playing in that competition as long as possible. As long as possible. It's better for Spurs, and it's worse for them. Let's keep it up.
Yeah, and Arsenal don't have the squad. I mean, like to me, like City don't really either, but they somehow find a way with only doing it with 16, 17 players, and they rotate, and those ones stay fit enough, and they get the job done. But you look at Arsenal's bench, and you think, like they should probably want better. Villa have a good squad, and obviously the Conference League is a bit easier, a lot easier than the Champions League. But Liverpool have got midfield problems. I mean, the side that lost to Arsenal without Salah, you kind of thought this is a great opportunity for Arsenal to get the points, to get the win, because that Liverpool midfield was weak. But yeah, so you just don't know. But we've got 15 games left, and we've got most of our squad fit or available. You can't ask for more than that, really, can you? I mean, like the push starts now.
And that's it. I mean, I genuinely think we can do something. I really do. What are you bringing up there, HJ?
I'm just looking to see what there is. These little various.
Well, should we do predictions for Brighton? Let's do predictions for Brighton.
Okay.
Let us know your predictions in the chat now. Let's go, and I'll read every single one out. So there's 160 of you watching. So if you put your prediction in the chat now, I will read it out. Challenge me. See if I can do 160 in a minute. But let's go around. Oh, and if there's 160 watching, please do hit the like button. Each of you,
The
costs
like
you the
button.
thing. Takes a second. HG prediction for you, my friend.
2-1 home win. Nervy.
Nearly called you my sunshine. Then that's normally what I call my daughter, but there we go. JP.
Yeah, I probably agree 2-1, but I want to say 6-0. Let's just do it. There's a game coming where we're going to absolutely.
I've said it's going to happen. I've said it's going to
Yeah.
happen all season, and I'm still waiting. I thought it was going to be the Chelsea game after the first 15 minutes, but look how that turned out. Cam.
3-2.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to go 4-1.
Ooh.
I think we'll win well. I do genuinely. I think De Zerbi missing from the sideline, by the way, is massive for them.
Can we all boo SOF for this? I mean, obviously, it's not a problem that you've gone for a draw, but like everyone else has gone for a home win. What the heck?
What are
I
you
just want to
doing?
boo you inside for that. But yeah, there's a chance. There is a chance. That's
Let's
for sure.
bang through these. So, Kevin 3-2, Spurs 6-1, go 4-0, love it, clean sheet, can't see that. Aaron 3-1, Adrian Spurs 3, Brighton 1, Son score the first goal, love it. SOF, as HG said, 2-2, we won't dwell on that. Laura 3-2 Spurs, King Donald 3-2, 3-2 a popular scoreline today, Cap, mirroring you. Steve Dobbs 3-1, Kerry King 4-1, like it, Kerry. MS, I'm presuming 1-3 means you think Brighton are going to win 3-1. Let us know otherwise. Archibald 4-1, strong name there. David 3-2, another 3-2. Mike 3-1, Geo 3-1. Everton fan in the mix, Rich, resident Everton fan 3-2 Brighton. Do you mean Spurs 3, Brighton 2? I can't tell by the way you've written that. I'm going to assume that's the way.
3-2 Brighton means he thinks that Brighton will win.
I'm aware of that. I'm trying to reframe it, which, just let me do my thing, if you could. Angeball 4-0. Norman is another believer in a clean sheet. It's not going to happen. Ali also believes in a clean sheet. Chisholm John 5-3. Last time we had one of those, Chelsea on New Year's Eve 2015.
Probably.
I think we beat Leicester, didn't we? 5-4.
That's true. End of
at
season.
Wembley. I know, because I was there, and it was the only football game that I've taken Becky to, and she's not moaned. Go on, JP.
Was that the one where you were there?
I was there.
No, that's a different Leicester game.
That's a different Leicester game. Right.
Different.
Another high-scoring nail biter that you were.
Yeah, I've been to lots of
Away
Leicester
for.
games actually. Yeah.
Mm.
First time at Leicester Stadium, I think Son scored in a FA Cup game. It was good. She was at that one as well. She's my lucky charm. I should take her back to a game. Jimmy 1 Bob 5-3. That's more like it. Gov asks, how many clean sheets have we had? Go on, what have you looking up? I know what are you.
Not many. Luton.
I want to say
Fulham.
3.
Forest.
JP, could you Google it?
I'll Google it. Hang on.
Yeah, not enough.
Mr. Muir, good to see you the other night. Sonny scored his 100th Premier League goal last time we hosted Brighton at the stadium.
All right, here we go.
Kevin saying 5.
All right, we trust you, Kevin.
Man United in the second round. Then we followed that up with another clean sheet at Bournemouth.
Okay.
Then we have to go all the way to Luton for our third. We followed it up again with a clean sheet against Fulham.
So that's 4 out of 9. So we were pretty good early on.
We were pretty good at 8. When we had our midfield, we were holding it together and our defense. Then you have to go to Forest in December. And then, you're going to the Burnley Cup. The FA Cup against Burnley. That's 6.
That's it then.
Does that count?
So you can
5.
Counts.
6 if you include the FA Cup, 5 in the Premier League, yeah?
Yeah.
Pathetic. What's this man doing? Get this Aussie out of our club.
Oi.
Agile!
Thought you were talking about Scott Munn for a second.
No, the lesser spotted Scott Munn. But there you go. It's an Aussie takeover, isn't it?
100%.
What else have you got for us on the slides, HG?
So if we want to do it, there are, of course, the other games this week.
Yeah, let's do it. Why not? I need to top up my beer, though, so we can... Right, Man City versus... First world problems and all that. Man City, Everton, HG.
2-0 2-0 Man City.
Jeffy?
4-0 City.
3-0 City.
Yeah, I'm going to say 3-2.
Ooh.
The power of suggestion is strong in my mind because I've seen so many 3-2s tonight in the chat. Fulham versus Bournemouth. Cam.
1-0 Bournemouth.
JP?
2-1 Fulham.
Oh, yeah, let us know your predictions. I like the predictions. HG.
I think Bournemouth will win 3-1.
3-1. I agree that Bournemouth will win, but I would say it's going to be like a 1-0. 2. Let's go 2-1. Let's go 2-1. Home side always scores. Liverpool versus Burnley. This should be a cricket score, mate. JP.
Yeah, 4-0 Liverpool.
Yeah, Cam.
3-0 Liverpool.
HG.
Yeah, 4-1.
I thought you were going to say, yeah, Burnley are going to do them. No,
No.
unfortunately, I'm going to go 5-0. I think Liverpool will absolutely destroy them. Luton Town versus Sheffield United HG.
Well, I know what I want. Like, I want Luton to win. They should win.
I can
They
see
will
it.
win.
Yeah.
But 2-1. It'll be close.
Okay. Good stuff, JP.
2-0 Luton.
Cam.
2-1 Luton.
Yeah, I fancy Burnley to score. Burnley? Sheffield United to score a goal. I'm not playing Burnley, Owen. Let's go 2-1. Spurs were done. Wolves versus Brentford. Such an inconsistent team, Wolves. HG.
I think 2-2.
Desmond. JP.
Brentford 1-0.
Brentford 1-0. Cam.
This is oozing a Desmond.
2-2. I just think Brentford might edge this 2-1. And Wolves are far. I mean, I hear about Wolves all the time. My dad is a Wolves fan, season ticket holder, and you know, Neto, he's obviously back. Hwang's back, obviously, as well. And they're at home, and they're not bad at home. But Brentford, Ivan Toney back in the side. I'm just going to go for a 2-1 win just to annoy my dad. For Brentford. Nottingham Forest versus Newcastle Pet. Cam.
Newcastle 1-0.
JP.
Newcastle got anyone back yet?
They've got a lot of players back. I think Joe Linton's
they've got a
out
few
for
players
most
back.
of the season, but
Yeah. There's a bit of heat on Howe.
I wanna say 0-0. I'm gonna go 0-0.
I agree with Archibald. 1-1.
Really? I think Newcastle win 3-1.
All right.
Could be a pushover in the end. But we don't talk about no. And then on the Sunday, Super Sunday, West Ham versus those lot. HG.
Every time I want West Ham to do anything,
They disappoint.
and every time I want them to get stuffed, they find a way. That's why I hate West Ham so much. I am going to be optimistic, and I will say a 1-1 draw.
See, I hate West Ham just because there's so many reasons to hate West Ham. I think Arsenal beat them comfortably 2-0. JP?
I had a West Ham fan try and tell me that West Ham was Spurs' biggest rivals this week.
Did he try telling them they're massive? Try telling you they're massive as well?
Tried to say it was the fiercest rivalry in European football.
Is he Australian?
Are you taking the piss? Did he really say that?
Really said that. No, they're British. Tried to tell me that I didn't know anything because I'm not British.
Was he a British person?
Yeah.
Was this on a Zoom call or does he live in Australia?
Lives in Australia. Yeah.
Right. What I want you to do is put a poisonous snake in the house. But
I'm not going to do that. But what I will do is say that you deserve a 0-0 draw for that. So that's what I'm going to give you.
I mean, you're too kind. I'm ruthless. Cam?
3-2 Arsenal.
Put one of them Vipers in there, mate.
This is my favourite prediction. I mean, hedge those bets, my friend. I'll have 2 bets, maybe a third one where it's a draw, possibly, Dan. But yeah, I think he means 2-1 Villa. I hope he means 2-1 Villa. I don't know.
Sorry, Cam.
For Villa United, I'm going to go 1-1.
I am going to agree with you, Cameron. More out of hope than anything.
No, I think you both. I think you could be well right. I think it will be 1-1. But HG,
which result will give us the nerves the most? Man United will win this 2-0.
I mean, Villa have gone a long time without winning one at home, without losing one at home. Sorry, and then they've lost 2 on the bounce, 3.
Yeah, Newcastle and Chelsea have beaten them. Like it's one of those things. Like Aston Villa winning doesn't help Spurs, right? But Man United losing does. Man United winning doesn't help Spurs.
1-1 draw. 1-1 draw. HG.
Yeah, no, knowing Spurs, we won't beat Brighton, and then we'll get the worst result possible, which will be Man United gaining points on us. Yeah. So I think United will win. Like they've got a decent set of players back, and they seem to be a pretty functional team. And so United. I mean, I don't like them. I don't think they're good enough to catch us. But I know that it will sit in my stomach for a while if they keep on gaining points on us. So I think United will win.
Okay. And then Palace versus Chelsea. I mean, I'm going to go first on this one. I want to say Palace, but I just can't. They've been awful lately. I think Chelsea will win 2-0. HG.
Palace don't have anyone. Right? Their better players aren't available. 0-0.
Is Nkunku back? Nkunku or whatever his name is.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, he didn't play against Villa in the Cup, which obviously Chelsea. Everyone said Chelsea played well, but I mean they took their chance.
They at least both out from what SOF says.
So 0-0. It's going to be one of those Monday games where I'm glad I'm doing the show instead of watching the game.
I really want to say 1-0 Palace. I feel like there's no world in which that happens, but I really want to say 1-0 Palace. Yeah, all right, I'm going to do it. 1-0 Palace.
2-1 Chelsea.
2-1.
Don't take too long, caller.
I've already said it. 2-0 Chelsea.
Okay, all right. Well, then that's all the games, isn't it? So,
I was just huffing and puffing. What do you think of this, by the way? Well, we've got some time. Blue cards in football. I'm going to pass it round to you. I'm going to go get a beer. I want to come back. I want to hear what complete bollocks it is. Thank you very much. And it's over to JP.
Why on earth? Why are we trying to reinvent the game? If you have blue card, and I think the concept was that if you get a blue card, you have to go off for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So you're playing a man down for 10 minutes. What's going to happen is no one's going to do anything. The game's just going to be a game of like pass it around your back line until someone goes off, and then you have 10-minute spurts of trying to attack. Stop messing with the game. Just leave it alone. This is the worst thing that could happen to football. I think I might stop watching at this point.
Yeah, and there are so many things that make it nonsensical, like the idea that the blue card is the same value as a yellow card. So it's like actually a yellow card, but worse. It's like the yellow, because it's the yellow card plus a sin bin. But if you get 2 blue cards, that equals a red. Doesn't equal a yellow, it equals a red. And so I guess a blue and a yellow together equals a red. Well, any school child will tell you that blue and yellow equals green. So it is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That like I understand that they want to somehow say that some kind of professional foul or tactical foul is worthy of a stricter punishment, and when they want to see a more open game. But you're not going to see a more open game because it's just weirdly enough, like if someone loses a player for 10 minutes, they're just going to defend for 10 minutes, like most teams do when they're down to 10 anyway. It will create attack versus defense, and what you want to see is attack versus attack. Like that's the idea of the game. Like no one wants to see 2 defensive teams. I don't mind a good attack versus defense because there's obviously a part of football where defense is super important. But 11 versus 10 is never really a good game of football, and I want to see a good game of football. So, yeah, whatever level they trial it at, I hope it falls flat on its face because it's unnecessary. Like, who is going to decide if it was a tactical foul or not?
Yes.
Like, what equals a tactical foul? It's madness. Cam,
it's the sort of thing.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say it's the sort of thing you introduce in like under 6s, where you don't want to punish the kids too harshly, but you're being rude to the ref, so you need to go and take a break. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a punishment where it can have a direct impact on the game, but it's a punishment where does it equal the impact on the game, if that makes any sense. So because you're taking a player off, which obviously gives the initiative to the team that has one more player, in theory. It's not things need to be a bit more binary because, yes, the subjectivity of what the ref thinks it comes into question. And look, how have we managed VAR and how the clarification over that over the past 1 to 2 years? It's been horrendous. So I think this blue card idea is a dreadful idea, and I hope it doesn't actually take off.
It's funny, like if there's one thing about the fouling system that I actually wouldn't mind changing, I don't like it when people get like cumulative yellows.
Yeah.
Right. They do a bunch of nonsensical fouls, and someone says, "Hey, that's his 5th one," and he gets a yellow. Like, if they're not yellow card fouls, I don't really agree with the idea. Like, I understand that it's frustrating if you're the team that's getting these silly fouls, kind of when you're trying to attack and your opponents are doing it. But I don't like that idea. Like, if it's a yellow card foul, it should be called a yellow card foul. If you get 2 in the first 10 minutes, then you're off. Right? The idea that somehow, like, I remember a game years ago at Anfield. I mean, it's so long ago that Sami Hyypiä is the Liverpool player I'm thinking of. Oh. And he absolutely booted one of our players within the first 25, 30 seconds of the game. Clearest yellow card you're ever going to see, but somehow got away with it because it was like, oh, he's just settling into the game. Like, those are the things that annoy me. I don't, like, if a tactical foul stops a break, well, a yellow card, you're halfway off. Like, that's not a bad punishment. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's annoying that, you can't get to attack, but that's part of the game. There is that's, I don't consider that cheating. I consider that taking one for the team, and it is a team game. So it just feels like they're trying to bring in something that nobody was asking for.
No.
Nobody has wanted. Go on, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, if there's one thing you wanted to change about the card system, it'd maybe be that you could, like, how you can appeal red cards. Well, we've made the accumulation of yellow cards significantly more kind of impactful now, where you've got Basuma missing 5 games because he's racked up 5 yellow or been sent off twice or whatever. But a lot of those were for like really soft yellow cards. If you're going to make any change, I still don't agree with it, but be able to appeal yellow cards because that's the kind of direction we're going in. Don't introduce this like halfway measure that's going to actually like really tangibly impact the way the whole game's played. Not just how one player plays or if they feel like they can go in for tackles for the rest of the game because they're already on a yellow. you're going to physically change the way two teams play a game because I think that this lives somewhere between a red card and a yellow card, so I'm just going to give you a 2-minute sin bin or a 10-minute sin bin or something. It's dumb. It's so dumb, and FIFA needs to disband.
And it would have to be a rule that would have to be 100% clear as well.
Well, my question is, will it get referred to VAR?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. VAR, what are they going to do now? Oh, I don't think that was actually a yellow card offence. That was a blue card offence. Like, we're just going to slow the game down further as we're reviewing more and more things.
Yeah, I mean, like in my lifetime, there have been two major changes to football, right? The first one was when they outlawed the back pass. And I still remember playing with the back pass. I remember watching games with the back pass. And I remember everyone going kind of nuts that how the game is going to be weird. But it was weird, but it was better, right? No one wants to see, at the end of games, defenders just kicking it to their keeper, right? No one wants to see that. However, the second one of VAR is understandable because they were trying to eliminate mistakes or get things more right. Okay, I can see the logic in wanting that. Right, the fact that it's applied ridiculously, well, you would hope that the application can be improved and that maybe somewhere down the line we'll get more used to it. Right. However, this one. Like, where is the progress? Does anyone really think the game will be better by having an extra level of things that the refs can get wrong? No, it doesn't make any sense. And
this is a good point as well by Paul. Stand by for lots of injuries as we'll see extended VAR breaks and players sitting on the sideline.
Yeah, they'll be sitting on their exercise bikes like they do in other sports, trying to keep warm. Like, is it like rugby league and stuff? They have that, or
yeah. I know in AFL they do that.
There was a comment earlier as well. What happens if a goalkeeper gets a blue card? Because you're not subbing this player out. You have to play a man down for a period of 10 minutes. Call. But it just,
it's a strange philosophy. And then the other thing I've seen is VAR going to explain we're turning into rugby basically, aren't we? So VAR to explain over the tannoy system what the decision was and why.
That would be okay that's the crazy thing. When we heard that decision in the football game and we heard the conversation they had, it was like I almost wished we spoke about it on the show that we wished we'd never heard it because it made us realize how dumb they all were.
Good process, mate.
Until this point, you had an idea that they were, intelligent men of a certain. I don't want to say standard is the wrong word, right? But they were like. You were hoping they were going to be someone in the higher levels of intelligence, and you found out that they weren't. They were the kid at school who couldn't play football, so became a ref. That's who they are. And it's crazy to think that I don't want to hear it. Like when you hear rugby people talk with each other, rightly or wrongly, you think these guys know the rules, they know what they're talking about, and it's clear. With VAR, I don't want to hear what they're talking about because I don't think any of them really understand the rules. And I don't want to hear a referee explain, well, I think this is a red because when all of us as football fans will sit there and go, well, like we've watched other games. So we've seen similar challenges, similar fouls on keepers, and sometimes they're given and sometimes they're not. I don't really want to know the subjective viewpoint of a referee who, in many intents and purposes, is probably saying, well, it would make a better game if we sent him off. It's better entertainment or it's drama. I don't want to know. And like VAR can be improved upon by, to me at least, having smarter people run the comms. But this blue card idea, I just don't see any upside to it at all. There are more negatives to it.
Well, VAR isn't equally applied across UEFA. The countries in UEFA.
Really?
I don't.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, absolutely. You see it in internationals. To me, I haven't seen many wrong decisions in international football. I might be misremembering, and I'm sure someone will correct me in the chat. But the standard of officiating and VAR decisions seems a lot more fluid and simple and right when I watch international football compared to like the automated offside, for example. That seems to work.
Like when it came in, was it World Cup Russia?
Yeah,
it was the first one they really had it, and I don't think any of us thought that was bad. Like, we were all a bit nervous, and it was a bit weird to watch, people make these decisions outside the game, but it seemed to work. But like, I don't like that. I mean, maybe this is just English football, maybe it isn't, but they look back into the entire phase of play to see, there was a foul 15 seconds earlier that led to the goal, so therefore the goal. Like, to me, hang on a second. Like, what are we like? If offside, you can legislate, right? Handball, you can legislate. You can see it, you can figure it out. And if it's too close to call, then the on-field call stands. That happens in lots of other sports where if there's no actual evidence to say they got it wrong, then if it's not clear, then the ref's decision is final. Like, I don't feel like these are difficult things to improve upon, but they seem to be looking in the wrong areas of making changes.
There's two really clear changes I would make to improve football, specifically from VAR. The first is automatic offsides that just speed the game back up. Do that. The second is VAR has 30 seconds. Give them 30 seconds. If you can't tell if something is clear and obvious in 30 seconds, then it's not clear and obvious. Don't sit around looking at a screen for 2 minutes to try and decide, was his foot raised high enough? Do I think? And you're looking at it in freeze frames. No, you got 30 seconds. Done.
And I think I realize that does make it a bit more subjective, because there are times where you can't see the lines on the pitch and the camera's not in line. And there are times where, like, maybe I would say that looks offside and you would say, I don't think it does. And then those lines probably become more important. But for, I would suggest, 95% of these calls, it's pretty clear if it needs changing or not. Right?
Also, watch it in real time.
Yeah. And so, like, if you're getting the lines out, he's onside. Yeah. Like, a left toe is not an advantage. It really isn't. No. Half a body length probably isn't a massive advantage if you're both going in the same direction. But
not when you're up against Van der Ven.
Well, there you go. So it's just like, I know that, like, none of us will really agree where that line is or where it should be, right? We're all going to have somewhat different opinions, but that's okay. But it's like, when you're trying to get everything perfectly right, it ruins the game. And like again, I feel like the Palace game was the one I went to this season, and obviously there were 3 goals, and I felt like all of them were pretty clear goals watching it in the stadium, because there was an own goal, so there's an offside to maybe look at in the run up to the goal, and then the Spurs' second that game was clearly onside. At no point did you think that it could be offside. But even when you're sitting there and you're like, we celebrated like crazy, and then there's that half a minute where the players have stopped celebrating, you've kind of stopped celebrating. In my case, I've picked my mum up off the floor because she's been pushed around by everyone celebrating, and then it takes 30 seconds to restart the game because someone is checking something. Like that's the part that just doesn't need to happen. You should be looking for obvious situations that are obviously wrong. And if you miss it, like, we've seen various cases in the past where refs have missed offsides, like, because they just didn't check that particular person. Like, that's awful, but I can understand someone missing it, but I can't understand the idea of checking 45 different pieces of action to try and find a foul. That makes zero sense to me.
And well, that's the thing. That the quarterfinal at City, I think it was in the Champions League, where they got a goal at the end there, but it was disallowed. That went back into a run of play where I think, was it Sterling or someone was offside, and you can see Pape just completely wilt when he realised the goal wasn't scored. How far back in play was that? Do you remember the match I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think it came off Eriksen's leg.
Champions League, was that?
Yeah, the Champions League.
I think it was Champions League.
Bernardo Silva was trying to kick it forward because it went through to Aguero, and then Aguero squared it for Sterling. To me, I guess that was the same thing. But yeah, like, when the ball is played, and obviously the ball is played, and it touches Eriksen on the way, but Aguero was offside. Yeah, like, I don't know, but even I think with that case, it was only maybe 30 seconds before they disallowed it. Like, I'm head in hands in the pub watching that game, thinking we're out last minute, can't believe it. I had no idea they were doing it until I looked up and said, no, it doesn't count. So it couldn't have been that long.
So I thought it took a bit longer to judge that because I was thinking everyone's looking around.
I think it's more the reactions. It was more the reactions of like the players, and everyone hadn't realised because they've obviously gone into pandemonium with their fans. But it took about a minute for everyone in the stadium to realise the goal had been ruled out.
Yeah,
and it was a beautiful thing.
VAR, long live VAR.
I mean, even like going back as far as like when VAR are looking back on things, I would have no issue if the referee was instructing VAR on like, hey, actually in this period of play, I think the ball went out. I'm not sure. Can you just check if the ball went out 15 passes ago? They're checking one thing that the referee wasn't sure on. Because then the referee's back to adjudicating the game of, I was going to make a call, but I wasn't sure on it. Can you check it? And it's the referee making a call and saying, hey, no, the ball was out. I've asked for it to be reviewed. It was out. No goal. But it does hurt when it's like someone else has decided to go look through a minute worth of footage to find a reason why it shouldn't have been called.
And I hate that the referee stands in the centre of the pitch with his finger to his ear and then he gets told to run over to the screen. Get over to the effing screen already. Yeah. Like, if you're not needed there, great. You only have to run half the distance back on the pitch to restart the game. Why are you waiting in the middle of the pitch? If you're by the screen, the players shouldn't be able to go anywhere near you anyway. So you don't have to worry about players kind of asking what the deal is. You don't have to put your finger to your ear to make sure you hear it. Like, these are simple things that would make it quicker and would make it work. It would make it feel as if they're actually trying to be more efficient with their decisions, as opposed to these guys are going to spend 2 minutes checking every single angle, and then they're going to tell you that you need to go and look at the angle they've spent 2 minutes checking. It just makes no sense.
Well, personally, also, the judges shouldn't be at Stockley Park. They should be at the physical ground, because in technical sense, if you've got the latency of watching a game from a different location to that of the stadium, there's going to be a network latency there, which is going to create that actual delay as well. I'm flabbergasted as to why they judge it from a remote location to that of the actual ground. That I can't believe that.
I think we're going to get to a point, Cam, where there's going to be a monitor that's refereeing the game, and all the refereeing will be done from a remote location. It'll just be a traffic light system. Stop the game, there's a foul, this team gets the kick. Like, that's the referees are barely doing anything on the pitch. They're not. They obviously are doing a lot. Mm-hmm. But I think Ange said it, like, we're taking the power and the authority away from the referee by having someone undermine them constantly from another position, looking at things in slow motion. It'll get to a point where you'll be like, well, if they're making all of the calls anyway, don't have the referee there. Have a robot floating around.
In this,
well, to be honest, in saying that, in the Australian Open, different sport, 10, 15 years ago, you had linesmen left, right and centre around the court. This year, you only really had the chair, the umpire in the chair, and everything else was automated.
Well,
everything.
Offside is automated in most of Europe.
Offside should be automated. There's no reason why it shouldn't be.
Well, there is.
There's no real reason why it should be.
There isn't. Sorry, as I chow down on this prawn cracker.
This conversation's getting thrilling now.
Yeah, I've had enough of it. Here's what Postecoglou had to say. I struggle to understand why this urgency suddenly to bring in new things. I don't know if there's much wrong with the game. My issue with the game right now is VAR has changed football as an experience. I don't know why a different card is going to make a difference. I don't know about this taking things from other sports. Other sports are trying to make their games faster. We're bringing in more clutter, which is pretty much more succinctly what we've just said in the last 15 minutes.
We should have just read that 15 minutes ago and gone, yes.
If you think about it, if you're watching this and thinking, I love these guys, I want to be a Patreon of the Cheese Room, you can go to patreon.com/the Cheese Room podcast, where you can join the conversation. We have exclusive content, prizes and discounts, including football prizes, which I'm going to come on to in a moment, an in-house chat group where you can chat with like-minded football fans. If you're a Patreon, shout out to you, let us know you are in the chat, and encourage other people. Tell them how great it is, or if it's not great, tell them that too, but I know you won't. Cheese Room merch after 6 months, Fantasy Football League, Predict the score with Seb, and all just £3 a month. We have frozen this price through the inflation era, I might add. So yeah, it's a great deal, and if you're lucky, you might be invited into the cheese room, as these gents here in the bottom left have done, or get a Sandro experience.
How many pictures of Sandro are we going to see, and for how many weeks?
I mean, lots. Lots. So,
I'm pretty sure that Brendan's going to be talking about it in every episode.
Yes,
for the rest of his life.
I can see this one here that's from MS that says, "Do you get cheese in the cheese room?" I mean, all I'm saying is have a little look at that in the bottom left. What is that if it is not cheese? Premium cheese. That's Daniel Levy's cheese, yeah. Daniel Levy. There you go. Dan's shouting out there. Hey, listen, if you want a ticket tomorrow, Dan, all you need to do, I'm putting it out there on this show. Anyone can have my ticket. DM me on Twitter. HG, you're on mute.
No, it's right. Like the ticket share thing that Dan talks about. Like we have a number of season ticket holders in the cheese room group who can't go to every game and are happy to pass it on, sometimes even for a discount or for free or whatever. But they want to find Spurs fans that want to go. So I don't know how much a membership is for Spurs, but I hear all the time that it doesn't equate too much, and probably joining the cheese room is a better use of money. So, like, I mean, you may not get 2 or 3 together, but I don't think you do anyway. Using the membership system. So. No. Yeah, like I think there are enough people who are in that group who seem to enjoy it. That there's lots of chats going on as far as I'm aware, and yeah, so it is worth your money. It might have been the price of a coffee when we started. It's now the price of half a coffee, I guess. But
that's right. JP is modelling the merch. Look at that, beautiful.
Got this here. Hang on one second.
One second. I got a trust badge the other day.
Oh, we are.
There we go.
A mug. Well. Get excited. There's some pins laying around here somewhere.
Yeah, shout out to Rachel and Steve from the Trust who were at the Sandro said evening. There you go. There's a pin badge. Look at that. Beautiful. Get your merch today.
£3 podcast room, as it's
£3 a month, and there's even a discount on that if you sign up for an annual subscription. So you literally cannot lose. Like-minded football fans, yes, that's what we all like. Listen, we've been going an hour and 37 minutes. I apologise for my tardiness. I have very small kids who don't sleep. I'm sure any parents can relate. But thank you, HG, for filling in for me.
1 second, my friend. 1 second. I am looking for something. Where is it?
All right.
Where's our football prizes thing?
Oh, yes, we need to do that.
Yeah, can't find the bloody...
That's all right.
While you look for that.
Look at that. I found another slide. Look at that. Enjoy your lunch, mate.
While you look for football prizes, HG, and this is, I swear, the last thing we will touch on this. Paul's put in the chat that the accuracy of match decisions from VAR has gone up to 96%. My comment is the concept of VAR is supposed to give you 100% accuracy, and we're still not hitting that. So, yeah.
There we go. So there's an amazing prize on the Football Prizes website right now. As a patron, by the way, you get additional discounts on these tickets, so another reason to join. There's a Spurs prize. It's a one-of-a-kind Brennan Johnson frame shirt. But focus not just on the Johnson shirt. If he's not your cup of tea, there's a Richarlison shirt in there. There's a Bissouma shirt in there. There's a Davis shirt in there. There's various other prizes. 499 tickets. You could win any of those prizes with a £3.95 ticket. £3.95 to win one of those prizes. We have various people in the cheese room who have won on football prizes, including myself on occasion. And Steve Diver was very lucky. He won several prizes on the bounce. The accountant obviously knows his arithmetic. There we go. So it's cheap as chips. Get over to footballprizes.com and absolutely have a go. Why not? Absolutely, why not? And there's hospitality tickets for Spurs Palace in the mix as well.
I will say you.
So for £3.95, you could be sat in hospitality watching Spurs versus Palace. Do me a favour. Join us on Patreon, get a further discount.
The Johnson shirt, I'm told, is very rare as well. He was given a pen and said, "Go on, sign it," and he took them on.
I thought that was his
He
contract.
ran round the back because he didn't want to do it. Is that where we're getting to?
Yeah. HG, as I said before, pleasure. Thank you for filling in for me in the beginning. It's a pleasure to see your beautiful bearded face all the way from Vienna again. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, no problem. I really enjoyed it. I guess I'll be back on Monday night as well.
Cool. I feel like I'm on with the dream team tonight, and the Australians always make it easy to have good conversation and Spurs chat. So, JP, first of all, thanks to you.
Thank you for having me. It's been a good chat. The end.
Succinct and to the point, mate. That's the way I like it.
I just wanted to shut you down for saying we're easy to talk to. Let's just make it difficult for you.
Cameron, talking of talking, I love the phone once and always, and thanks for joining. It's a pleasure. I do like I'll tell this little anecdote before we go. I was after one of my managers at work. I was ringing him to give him a bit of a kick for something. His name's also Cameron. And I rang Cameron in Australia by mistake. Of course I did.
You did as well.
As soon as I heard the international dialing tone, I knew I was onto a loser, mate. And thought, Christ, this is going to start charging me in a minute. Put that little ripper down. So I did. And then I got a text. Mate, I'm in the bush. Are you okay?
I was camping. I literally was camping up in country New South Wales. What's going on? You want me on the show, mate?
Down here, mate. I'm like, I wouldn't love the snakes. And he's like, yeah, I'll check for some blackheads or what are they called?
Brown snakes, tiger
brown snakes, mate. You don't want to hit a brown snake. One day I'm going to come down under. Sorry. I'm going to visit down under. That just sounds dreadful. And I'm going to come see you, Cameron. And we will have that date in the bush.
You can't even too far in the bush if you've still got reception, mate. That's not real camping in the bush. Come on,
mate. It was country New South Wales. It's another planet.
He's out in his
Wagga Wagga.
Yard. Yeah,
he was in Wagga Wagga.
Not far from Wagga Wagga. Not far from Wagga Wagga. Funnily enough,
that's not bush.
Well, look, it was great to hear from you, and I do hope one day to be down there dodging snakes with you as it is. In the meantime, look, we're going to beat Brighton. We're going to go out this weekend. We're going to win. We're going to hit my prediction, which I'm on my 5th pint now, so I think it was like 4-1. That's what we're going to go for. We're going to smash the Seagulls. And remember, when they follow the trawler, it's because they smell some fish. HG, JP, Cam, thanks for joining. You two at home, hit the like button and come on, you Spurs!
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.